everybody, and welcome to this episode of Beer is Tasty. My name is Chris.
My name is not Chris. My name is Jeremy.
Hey there, Jeremy.
Hi.
How you doing?
Oh, great.
I want to say thanks to the J-Man here. You're filling in for the B-Man.
I am.
Normally, Brian would be here, but if you've been watching some of the other shows on the network, like the Linux Action Show, you know Brian's been out for a week, so Jeremy here is filling in.
And that is no small task.
Let me tell you, I know it. You got to know a little bit about Linux. You got to know a little bit about beer, right? Okay. And really, the most important thing you have to do is sit in the corner of the studio and spout crazy stuff for like 15 minutes every now and then.
Yeah.
And that takes a ton of time of looking into crazy topics. So I appreciate that because you have been dedicated to that task.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Now, coming up in this episode, we're going to take you on location. We went to some, we went to Diamond Knot and we saw, who was there? Oh, Lazy Boy.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll show you all kinds of stuff.
Their icons look like us.
I know. Well, I think there was some drinking involved.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So we'll show some of the clips from that coming up.
I remember drinking.
But in this episode, we're going to drink, ready for this, Redhook ESB.
Now, one of the reasons that we chose this beer and to pair it with an on-location shoot is because we've been in contact with the Redhook dudes and we're trying to get on location with them. So,
yeah, buddy.
Here we go.
Now, we're not just doing this to blow beer up Redhook's butt, honest.
That would be uncomfortable.
Right?
Yeah.
Although I do have a good technique. I got a gap here.
No, I don't want to hear anymore.
All right. I'm just saying precision. That's all I'm saying. But we already know we like the ESB from Redhook, so we're not worried about like saying something bad about a beer and then getting a phone call about going on location.
Should we just go ahead and break into it then?
Let's do it.
All right.
Now, you were sharing with me a little beer trivia. We should say,
dude.
Also,
was I ever?
Redhook is local to us here in Washington.
Yeah.
So we kind of have a connection that way too. They're just
in fact,
in our
these are Washington mountains on their logo.
Son of a gun.
I mean,
they look like fern trees, like those things that hang in your car, you know?
Maybe they're ferns.
Yeah.
Do they flavor the beer with those little air fresheners?
I don't think so.
I hope not.
If they do, I should be eating more of those air fresheners. They're delicious.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about what ESB stands for.
Well, ESB is actually an American term, more or less. Oh, you didn't want the cap?
Well, no, not really.
See, over in England and Scotland, they just call them bitters.
Right.
And which is pretty much synonymous with a pale ale. There's a little differentiation there, but so ESB is actually a brand name over there, the England Special Bitter or something like that. So the ESB on an American beer is basically these guys copying the Britlands.
I see. Right, but they don't the
Britlanders.
They don't call it ESB there because then it would be our self bitter beer.
Right.
But now when you bring it over here, it's no longer their self, it's the English. So that makes sense. All right. And I am generally a bitter beer fan, but I know
I'm not.
You're not.
And that's actually, you know, when I was doing research and learning that the B stood for bitter, I actually thought it stood for beer. Honestly. I thought it was extra special beer.
Extra special beer? Oh my God. That's awesome.
So, but I was thinking back and I was like, well, that doesn't taste very bitter.
No.
I like ESBs, generally speaking.
You know, the ESB, I think it was in like 2009, won an award for being like...
Oh, yeah. These guys, Redhook ESB was at the
national, at a national level,
yeah.
Gold
medal winner.
It was pretty impressive. So people, that's a well-known brew, but we're going to go ahead and put it in our mouth and tell you what we think because I think it's been one of these ones that people have mentioned to us enough times. But this is generally my go-to casual beer.
Yeah, you know, I have my brother actually bought these beers for us.
Of Beer's Tasty cameraman fame.
Yeah, you might have seen him on the last episode on location.
So he likes these quite a bit?
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the ESB is I think it has such a good reputation because you're never going to go wrong. You can have a party, you can have ESB in your fridge, and it's always going to please the guests.
You know, Redhook, the brewery, the entire brewery, they've never disappointed me. I mean, I have had probably at least a dozen different Redhook beers over the years. And you know, some of them are just average, but you know what? If that was the average, if that was really the average for beer,
then
we are in a great world right now.
They set the bar there.
Yeah.
Yeah. This beer, I would say, is not like super awesome, but it is a constant performer. It quenches the thirst. It gives you that beer without. It's a thirst quencher without being a watered down beer.
It's a little heavier than something like that I drink on a hot summer day.
Or Coors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a little heavier. It's not quite as refreshing as you might get out of a lighter beer.
I still think it's quite refreshing.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's particularly.
I like the flavor.
It manages that.
You can't really chug it, which is a slight down in my book. Because I kind of like to chug a beer on occasion.
You just have to be a little more committed.
And then you'll have this monster belch at the end.
Yeah. One of those belches that still has the original flavor as it comes back up.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying.
All right, well, why don't we roll it to the Diamond Knot on location footage?
Should we give this a grade real quick?
Oh. Well, we'll give it when we come back.
Hi, Internet. I'm Jeremy from Beer is Tasty and from Bar is Tasty. Now, here on these shows, we like to, every once in a while, step outside of the studio. Because let's be honest, having that many awesome guys in one tiny little place can get a little awkward. So we are here in beautiful Mukilteo with the ocean right behind me. Also, right over there is the Diamond Knot Ale House, and we are getting our drink on. Okay, guys, we are back here at the Diamond Knot. You remember this place, you love it, we love it. We are here to whip it and whip it good with a review of their new whip ale. And with me are two of the brewers, the brewmaster himself. Can you tell me a little bit of the backstory? Either one of you, just chime in and I will shove the mic in your face. All right.
Yeah, I can, despite the awesome and gratuitous Devo reference, this beer is actually made in collaboration with Michael Wilton, who's one of the original guitar players from Queensryche.
I would totally make a rock symbol with my hands right now if they weren't full. That one. That's the one.
The horns.
Yeah.
So Michael came to us through a friend of a friend and asked us to produce a beer in his namesake. So we've got all kinds of fancy new stainless equipment to make lots and lots of beer in.
So when somebody comes to you and says, hey, will you make a beer, you generally say, all right.
If it's Michael Wilton,
Yeah, if they're famous,
well, no.
keep that in mind. Well, I'm going to hand it off to Bob now here. Can you tell us a little bit about what goes into actually making the whip ale?
Well, actually, you should have started with those questions. First question.
Oh, man, this is a failure. We're just...
Because Pat's the one...
Cut. So, Pat, you actually make the beer then. You handle all the selection of hops, malts, and all that good stuff?
Indeed, I do, and I'm also the metal geek that gets all googly-eyed when Wilton walks in the brewery.
All right, tell me a little bit about what we're drinking.
The whip ale is basically a pale ale. Not to be confused with the India pale ale, more of the standard English pale ale. And then, you know, what you want a good malty character.
Yeah, I definitely tasted that.
And, of course, refreshing and drinkable.
Now I'm filling in here because Sean, who you may or may not remember, is the brewmaster from Lazy Boy Ale House, right?
Yeah.
Brewery, something like that.
Lazy Boy Brewing.
And, well, he had a little too much to drink.
Yeah. A little bit, a lot. Because he's a brewer and he likes beer.
He likes to enjoy the fruit of his labors. I can't blame him. What are we trying?
This is the Lazy Boy Hefeweizen.
Now, I don't think I've tried this yet.
No, and yours is a fresh pour. That's why it's a lot cloudier.
Looks like you've enjoyed a little bit of yours.
Yes, I got started early because I wanted to do some research ahead of time.
I appreciate your commitment, dude.
Thanks.
All right, let's try this. Very spicy. A lot of fruity spices.
Like a tropical fruit almost, like a mango or something.
With a little
sort
bit of like a cinnamon
to
flavor to it.
I'm not getting that.
You know, it's at the very end after you've kind of swallowed it down. It's a little bit on your tongue. I taste a little cinnamon. You know what's crazy to me too is I'm sure that these guys didn't put something like that in here.
No.
I just taste these combinations when I drink it. And it's the combinations of these flavors together.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
the way that they brew it, and the temperature and everything, it's like science.
It's like science in a glass that makes me happy.
Yeah.
I like that kind of science. Lazy Boy, when I think of Lazy Boy, I think of IPA.
Yeah.
I think of the Lazy Boy IPA. Now, I don't know if that's a Washington thing or what that is, but that's kind of what they're known for. So I wasn't so sure I'd go for a hef. I do like hefs.
I'd probably order another one.
You would,
this
but it's
is
not on your
the best
top
beer
list.
I've ever had.
So if you're going to give it a grade rating, what would you give it?
Oh, B- probably.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you like it quite a bit.
As a Hefeweizen, very drinkable. As a beer in general, you can find better, especially if you're not a fan of all the fruitiness.
I probably wouldn't put it on my top list of hefs. I'd probably give it a solid.
No.
I think, though, I do like it, I think, a little more than you do. I think I might give it an A-.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That good?
I think so.
Yeah.
There you have it. All right. I think that'll wrap us up here at Diamond Knot. Hey, Jeremy.
What?
Cheers. Now, big thanks to the Diamond Knot guys,
Yes,
obviously.
always.
And we've got a lot more Beer is Tasty on location coming up, including some new locations. And I think as we go to different spots, we'll put it up on our calendar.
Oh, yeah, good idea. If you're local, you could even join us on location. Then.
That would be awesome. So go over to jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar.
Yeah.
And then also, we're doing more and more beers in studio all the time. So if you would like to suggest a beer, one of the best ways you could do it is if you want to donate to our beer fund. Head over to jupiterbroadcasting.com. On the right-hand side of the page, there's a one-time donation button.
You keep going down here, but I think it's over there to them watching.
Head over somewhere on the page, and you can push that one time, and then you can set like an arbitrary amount, probably like $1,000.
Yeah, or
and
two.
Then,
two.
Yeah.
2,000 is a better number.
Because then we can get 2 beers.
Yeah.
And then you just put what beer you want us to find in the
God,
description.
$1,000 beer.
Yeah. So let's give this thing a rating.
All right.
Now, is this a $1,000 beer?
No. But it's
No.
not a 50-cent beer.
I'd give it.
Maybe that should be the new rating system. Give it a price.
Give it a price. That's interesting. Well, until we come up with a price structure, we'll stick to the grade lettering system. We shouldn't have like drunk. Sometimes these drunk inspirations are not very good ones. Anyways, that's an off-camera discussion. So I would say this is probably about a B, maybe a B.
Yeah, I was gonna go B minus.
Were you?
Yeah.
I know I like it a little more than you do.
It's above average, but it's not offensive in any way.
Yeah.
But I don't know that personally I would consider this a go-to beer. I think that's just my personal taste because I'm into beers that are a little more smooth, a little more malty. After we finished shooting the previous segment, I noticed that it did have just the slightest little bit of a bite to it in the aftertaste.
Yeah, well, shoot,
It should.
Yeah.
For this type of beer, it really should, but that's not entirely my style. So my grade is biased.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for watching this episode of Beer is Tasty. We're generally out every Friday over at jupiterbroadcasting.com.
Generally.
Yeah.
When we can find the time to get drunk.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, until then, cheers. Man, it is hot in here. Let's turn these lights up.
Should I just... Yeah, I'm like a dripping mess here.
Dun, 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 dun.